are Locked On Spurs, your daily San Antonio Spurs podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
In one episode of Locked On Spurs, we graded Devin Vassell. It's last season with the Spurs, but let's take a look ahead into our crystal ball and see what expectations he has for the upcoming season. Welcome back to Locked On Spurs right here on the Locked On NBA Network. I'm your host, Jeff Garcia, Spurs writer for Kens 5 San Antonio. Thanks for making Locked On Spurs your first listen each and every day. Free and available wherever you get podcasts. Yeah, we're going to be putting Devin Vassell on the hot seat, looking at how much of a leap should fans, media people expect out of Devin Vassell, and then get some more thoughts on the draft that's just right around the corner. To help me do that, I am joined by a guy who's been MIA here at Locked On Spurs. A guy that I've been trying to get on Locked On Spurs, but he's busy. I get the busy excuse. I get the I can't, this and that. Mr. Casey Viera is back to wrap up this week here at Locked On Spurs. He's my colleague over at Kens 5, weekend sports anchor. Casey, we missed you.
I've missed you. I have missed
Man,
you. I have missed
you've been
the Locked On program. It's been about a solid 3 weeks, give or take.
It's been a while.
I've missed it. Just had schedules, just haven't added up.
I told you we could have used the excuse of it's for work. I mean, technically, Kens and Tegna and Locked On.
True. To a degree. To a degree.
It could have, to a degree. Yeah, that's a very, very loose degree. I'm pretty sure the bosses over there at the station would be like, yeah, sure, go ahead. No, by all means, go record a Lowe's right now. Skip this meeting we have that's very important because of breaking news. But all in all, we thank you for being back here at Locked On Spurs. And again, follow Casey on Twitter at Casey_Viera. And Casey, you know how the drill goes. You know how this works here. Unless you need a refresher.
I mean, unless anything has changed in the past
3 weeks.
I don't know, three weeks.
Yeah.
Let me know.
Yeah, no, you're all good. But yeah, again, I mentioned Devin Vassell to start the show, but before we dive into future forward looking, look back just briefly. When we graded his sophomore season with the Spurs, we gave him a B+. This was another episode of Locked On Spurs. What did you think of his play last season? And then if you can give us your grade as well.
Yeah, I think that's reasonable. I don't. There was nothing really about Vassell's, I guess, ascension or progression that overly surprised me in year 2. But that said, there wasn't a regression at all whatsoever. He got more burn. I'm assuming started about half the games that he played. What was it? I think when I was looking at the numbers, about a 7-point jump per game, 7-point per game jump, and that came with 10 minutes more a game. So yeah, I mean it was about par for the course, par for what I expected. So considering it didn't necessarily blow us away, it left us feeling largely pretty good about things, right? Yeah, I think that B plus range is good, more of a positive sense. If the only the A grade is what you're considering significantly outperforming expectations, if that's the bar, then yeah, you know what? That's a B plus I think is very much fair.
Yeah. Again, room for improvement. There's still things he has to work on ahead of next season. And he openly said it himself at the end of the season, saying, I need to learn how to create my own shot. I got to get work on my offense. At least according to photos, that he's been releasing this offseason, he looks like he added considerable size to his frame. That's going to bode well for him next season. I think there's definitely an expectation that he should be producing more, at least statistically. Now, before we get into that topic real fast, another idea or topic that was brought up when we were grading him in the other episode was, should you consider Vassell part of the core now? You remember what it was? It always, Casey, it's, oh, the Spurs are going to build around DeJounte, Keldon, and Lonnie. That's the core. That's the core moving forward.
Yeah,
But, should we lump Vassell in that mix already?
why not? I
Mm-hmm.
mean, I if this is a guy who's going to be a top 6 rotational player next year, which he is, I mean, we can put him in the core and not necessarily classify him as untouchable or anything like that,
Right.
but put him in the category as someone who does have expectations to be a productive player in whatever role and whatever capacity next season. I think so. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm right there with you. I think he definitely needs to be part of that core. Would you say he's the better two-way player on the roster right now?
The better or the
Or
of who?
the best two-way player?
Minus DeJounte Murray?
Minus, can DeJounte defend multiple positions as Vassell can?
Can Vassell do anything
I
remotely
know.
close offensively to what DeJounte can?
But
I mean, yeah, I still go on that DeJounte front, but I think for everybody else, I think you could have a conversation. Maybe you put him behind Keldon because he's probably a better defender than Keldon
right.
all the way around. But I would still take that offensive game as well. But really, outside of DeJounte, I think you could make that a conversation, a real
Right.
conversation with everyone. I won't stand on any kind of hill, die on any kind of hill if you had to take otherwise. But I think that opens up the dialogue a little bit.
Yeah, sure. You offensively he needs work, but defensively he's one of the better Spurs on the run. One of the better, not the best, not DeJounte level, but definitely can defend multiple positions. I like what we see out of him. And hey, kudos to the pandemic. I mean, seriously, he didn't sniff a minute with the Austin Spurs team, and he got a lot of NBA action immediately. Hopefully, that'll bode well into his third year. That's just right around the corner. But let's go ahead and start looking ahead into your crystal ball. A lot of positives, a lot of good things in his future. At least that's what it seems like. But how big of expectations are resting on his shoulders next season? Because didn't we hear it all the time, Casey? If only DeJounte had help. If only DeJounte had help. It's all you heard a lot throughout the season.
Mm-hmm.
Well, could he
Mm-hmm.
be in the form? Could that help be in the form of Devin Vassell?
What I think there, the question turns to what extent are we considering help? You know what I mean? If he's going to suddenly turn into this dramatic number 2 real Robin option that's going to make you a low end playoff team, get you out of the playoffs and make you a 7-8 seed, then if that's your expectation, then I think he's going to fall underneath your expectation.
Mm-hmm.
If your expectation is he's going to be that solid role guy who can be a top 3 or 4 offensive option, really after Keldon and DeJounte, if you want to put him right there, if you want to make that your expectation, I think that's fair. I think that's fair. I think that's a reasonable expectation to have, or to at least shoot for, so to speak. I mean, the window of opportunity is there to do that. The window of opportunity to make that kind of impact, it is there. It's very much
Right.
it's very much feasible. I think that should be kind of the expectation for him next season, to take maybe that, 12 points per game. So maybe take that 12
Right.
points and up it to 15 a game. Instead of 12 and 4, make it 15 and 6. And say he gets, instead of 27 minutes, say he gets closer to 30, 32. So if you can get that to like 15 and 6, 16 and 5, right around there, I think that's a good positive step. Stays in that, average efficiency, so to speak. I think it was 43% from the field. Shot decent from 3, 36% from 3. I think that's kind of should be the expectation or the hope that one should be aiming for next season for Vassell?
We're talking with Casey Viera right here on Locked On Spurs. Make sure to follow him on Twitter at Casey_Viera. We're not done talking about Mr. Vassell. When we get back, we're going to continue our chat about expectations for him next season and much, much more, including some draft talk down the road on this episode. I want to talk to you about betonline.net. It's your number one source for all your betting, stats, sports information. Find all the latest sports developments, including news and odds, this year's basketball championship matchup, NHL hockey conference finals, Major League Baseball, and of course, fighting news, MMA, UFC, boxing. They even got the odds on if DeAndre Ayton will be wearing his Spurs uniform next season. So if you want to check out those odds, go to betonline.net. BetOnline is your continued source for all your sporting and wagering information, including live betting, esports, and much, much more. Head to the website today. Use your mobile device. Learn all about the trends and actions. BetOnline, where the game starts. We are back with Casey Viera right here on Locked On Spurs. Follow him on Twitter at Casey_Viera and watch him on TV holding down the fort on the weekend sports anchor desk there at Kens5.com. Oh, especially identify. They show you on Kens5.com. I've seen you before there. And, of course, on TV as well. By the way, how is the new gig going for you? It's kind of old hat now.
It's good. It's good. What was that? I missed that last part.
It's old hat now. Yeah, it's old hat now. You got it. You got it all locked in.
Nobody has anything, especially me. Nobody.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say had it under. Well, I guess had it under control is the bare minimum, right? Competency.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So had it under control.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, they gave you the reins. Yeah, they gave you the reins to hold it down on the weekend. So that's a compliment. Don't worry, Casey got it. Yeah, Casey got it.
You gotta listen, man. You gotta crawl before you walk. Walk before you run. I don't know if I'll ever run, but as long as I'm moving forward instead of backwards, we'll take it.
All right, let's continue our chat about Devin Vassell. But before we do that, we have an important favor to ask of you. We put together a survey so we can learn more about listeners like you and make your favorite Locked On podcast even better. This is your opportunity to tell us what you like and don't like about Locked On Podcast. I can tell you right now, one thing I don't like is Casey Viera vanishing from Locked On Spurs for 3 weeks. I don't like that at all.
I know.
But
neither do I.
But you want to go to lockedonpodcast.com/survey right now to get started. It won't take very long, and everyone that completes the survey can qualify for a chance to win one of 10 $100 gift cards from Ticketmaster. To take the audience survey, go to lockedonpodcast.com/survey. Thanks for your help. All right. Looking at you threw out some numbers here regarding Vassell's, what you would hope that he would strive for next season. I think that's very, very doable. You figure he's going to have a bigger role next season. He's in the third year of his NBA career. At this point, I think the Spurs will take any type of veteran, quote unquote, that they'll have on their roster because they're thin on that aspect, minus Josh Richardson and a couple other guys. But what about the intangible? We saw this last year with Vassell was how vocal he could be. We saw him not give the canned answers during press conferences. Remember, I think it was early in the season when they had that horrific losing streak. It was just bad. And then, DeJounte goes up, says what he says. Keldon goes up, positive as ever. And then Vassell went up and just blasted the team. I think I want to see a lot more of that next season, Casey.
Yeah, that was largely unexpected.
Yeah, I didn't expect that at all. I mean, I think I was sitting there at the Zoom, was like, what is he doing? He just went off.
Right? Because, he's largely a reserved fella anyway, so it seems. So we discovered up to this point in the first, I guess now going on 3 years that he's been here. But it was like when he went up there and he was saying, paraphrasing here, basically in more stern terms of talking about the team taking accountability and stuff like that should not be happening. It was like, whoa, those few fronts. I don't think anybody expected it. So since he already did it once, he feels comfortable doing it, clearly, and he's going to be in a position where you got a lot more people listening to him now. Why not, right?
Yeah, why not? One area statistically that I like to see improve next season is getting at the free throw line. He only went to the free throw line 1.4 times last season. That's how many attempts he had. I need him to be a lot more aggressive than that. Just attack the rim. And I get it. It's like a 3-point shooting happy league now. I mean, just look at the NBA finals. But I think if he could become more of a slasher and just really go at that rim, I think that'll do well for him next season, Casey.
Yeah, I think as many of those things that you can do, it's ideal. But a lot of that opens up with the fact that Keldon has really progressed that 3-point shot over the past, the last 3 months of the season and change. And that's going to be immensely beneficial for Vassell if that happens. I mean, if Keldon can still shoot that consistent number, what was it? I'm about over 40% probably by the end of the year as a whole. Somewhere around there, Keldon's number, it was better than average. I know that. It was better than average. So if Keldon can maintain that at a higher volume, that's going to be big time. That's going to be big time for Vassell to do that. Yeah, I agree.
Look, just play, this scenario out. If Lonnie is gone next season, does that kind of ripple effect with Vassell? Because I think that's really good. That good chunk of those minutes are probably going to go to him. I
mean, they were starting to go to him anyways.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
They were starting to go this way anyways. Yeah.
Yeah. You're going back to Keldon, and the whole idea of like DeJounte needing help and, could it be Vassell? So we're talking about it. But Keldon showed a little something late last season because that's when he really came on. I think for the last month and a half, he was averaging at or like right near 20 points per game. And he just, boom, took off. If they can get Keldon going like that to start next season and sustain that for an entire season, and Vassell to take a leap, I hope. Why do I feel that still won't be enough to get out of the play-in? Like they need more, just because of the makeup of the West.
Probably, right, because you're probably right.
Yeah,
you feel that way because you're probably right. Yeah.
Because you look at the West, and I know we're talking about Vassell right now. Okay, fine. Well, let's just say he takes that leap next year, and Keldon takes that leap, and DeJounte is DeJounte next season. Just in their own backyard, just look at the division. Just the division alone: Memphis, Dallas, New Orleans, who has a pick ahead of the Spurs as of right now, Houston, who owns the number 3 pick. One thing that all those teams have in common, they have I guess a corner piece on their franchise, on their roster. The Spurs don't. I mean, the closest they have is DeJounte. So kind of circles back to Devin, is like, man, I mean, yeah, you expect him to have a leap, but I mean, I don't know if it's going to be such a leap just to survive just the division, Casey.
I think they're still better than Houston. They're not on Dallas level, but because Houston's not there. I mean, call me back in 3, 4 years, 5 years, this might be a different conversation because there are more cornerstone guys on that Rockets team, but presently constructed in the immediacy, I mean, I think they're better than Houston.
Yeah, they just did that deal with Dallas, right? With Christian Wood.
Yeah. That Christian Wood is completely, completely unrelated. I know a lot of people are saying that the Rockets got fleeced, but there must be something about Christian Wood that he's just like, why does he keep getting dumped? I saw a stat. This was I think it was his 6th team in 7 years, or 7th team in 6 years, or something like that. Right. I feel like when you get to that level, it almost seems like it's more of an indictment on the player, right? Yeah, because he's a pretty good ball player the past few seasons. I mean, he made that move to Houston, and he seems like So I don't know. That might be me just spitballing here, but just a thought. But anyways, I like the Spurs better than Houston.
Yeah. To wrap up this segment, would you? I think Spurs fans temper their expectations as far as Devin Vassell's growth next season. what I'm trying to get at is versus a major leap, this incredible, 20 point per game guy, or just fans just expect another moderate growth with Vassell?
If 20 point per game is the magic number there,
Yeah.
and moderate is that 16 and 5, 15 and 6
Yeah.
area, I'd say moderate.
All right. Well, there you have it. Casey Viera's expectations, my expectations for Devin Vassell heading into next season. When we get back, we're going to put a wrap on this episode of Locked On Spurs and get Casey's thoughts on the Spurs at the 2022 NBA Draft. We're back with Casey Viera right here on Locked On Spurs. Follow Casey on Twitter at Casey_Viera. Watch him on TV at Ken's 5, holding down the sports desk on the weekends. Casey, in just a few short days, the Spurs will be adding in perhaps 3 new members, 1 new member, 2 new members. The point is, a new member of the Spurs will be joining San Antonio very, very soon. You've been a while. It's been a while since you've been on. So we're going to get your thoughts at the Spurs at NBA Draft Day 2022. Number 9 pick, 20 and 25. How do you see all that shaking out for the Silver and Black?
I think they make the first 2 picks and they trade back out of the first round, and they don't make that 3rd selection. They move out. They move out. Yeah, I think that's how it goes down.
I think
as to who they pick.
Yeah,
I need as to who they pick. I still probably need a minute.
Yeah, I mean, those mock draft boards are constantly shaping you. One day I see Jalen Duran's name, then I see Johnny Davis's name on there. I'm like, whoa. I mean, it feels like it's all over the map for the Spurs. There's reports out there the Spurs are going to definitely get big, and go for size, whether that be Duran or Sochan or whoever. But yeah, I mean, it's all over the map. I think they keep 9 and try to move up with 20 and 25, and maybe dangle one of their expiring contracts. Jakob, forget Jakob's in a contract year next year. You look at the makeup of the roster. Obviously, again, size is still an issue. They don't have a stretch big. After Jakob, it takes a dive, and we don't even know Jock Landale will be in San Antonio next year. He's a non-guaranteed deal. Zach Collins is going to maintain health for an entire NBA season. So yeah, I hope they draft big. I think they need to draft big. But even if they were to get Jalen Duran, he's still not a stretch big, Casey. He's still not.
No, he's not.
Yeah,
and that's why that's one that doesn't necessarily make sense to me unless they trade Jakob and get a stretch big back. I don't understand the Jalen Duran. I wouldn't understand that. I wouldn't understand that. The only way you do that is if you move Pirtle. And I don't know entirely if they do that. I mean, I think there's value there. I think Pirtle has value, but I don't know if they move him or not. Without doing that, that wouldn't be I wouldn't like that pick. If he's there and they move Jakob, I think that's a different story.
Yeah, last season, I mean, Brian Wright was willing to move him. I mean, there were reports out there that Jakob was on the block. Jakob comes out with Austrian media and tells Austrian media, "Yep, me and my agent, we knew they were trying to shop me." So the Spurs definitely are okay trading Jakob, and I get it. He's a valuable piece. He's a movable piece.
I gotta take
a good return.
I was gonna say I gotta take a minute to acknowledge something here on your program, because if you rewind the shows probably all around this time last year when he was having talking to those outlets and saying all those things, how he again paraphrasing wanted more money.
I remember that.
Whatever.
Yeah.
I was on here and I was like, all right, come on, bro. Like you can't.
Yeah.
I was like, outside of 8 feet, you are not doing anything offensively. Like, wake up, know your value, man. But you know what? Jakob was very good offensively last year, or at least took pretty good steps in a positive direction. So I gotta say, my bad. I got that one wrong. I got that one wrong.
But he still can't stretch the floor worth a damn, though. At all. I mean, with a little
was
shot
that like
put,
ever the?
a little shot,
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I mean,
it's just
Jeff, no, nobody was banking on that. I was
hey,
saying, do something outside of 8 feet, and now he's a solid pick and roll option. He's doing that. He's not a black hole anymore.
there's still John Collins. Atlanta reportedly is still willing to deal him. So there you go.
Yeah.
Do the Spurs still chase him? I mean, John Collins had a chance, last year, a couple years ago, to join Silver and Black. Said nope, and stayed with Atlanta, but he's back. Yeah.
I
By
think
the way, before I let
Atlanta.
you go,
No, go ahead.
I said, well, no, go ahead, because we got a few more minutes.
Oh, I was going to say, I think the only reason that Atlanta kept him and matched that money so that they could ultimately deal him.
Right.
Because it seems like nothing has changed. The guy got his money, and there's still some. I'm not knowledgeable enough in the know to make a full-on educated, I guess, analysis of the situation. This is more hypothesizing. But for 2 years now, the story was, John Collins wants his money. He's unhappy. Well, John Collins gets his money. Oh, John Collins still unhappy in Atlanta. And that just kind of that just tells me that they matched to keep him to ultimately trade him.
Yeah.
And by all accounts, it seems like that's a good chance that happens, right?
By the way, you expect a different Spurs roster next season?
How different are we talking?
Okay, well, let's just, play devil's advocate. Lonnie's gone.
Which I think happens, yes.
Yeah, Jock doesn't come back, so you lose him. Possible trading to Pirtle. Pirtle could get dealed. There's a report right before we hit record on this show that Washington is inquiring about DeJounte Murray, although I don't know what Washington can offer. It's either their picks, but you bring in, as of right now, the 3 draft picks. Okay, fine. Maybe you'll go with the KT route. Maybe they keep 2. We could be looking at they chase. I mean, they've been linked to DeAndre Ayton. It just feels like this team could look a little different next year.
Yeah, in terms of the real focal points, I think the real focal points of Murray, Keldon Johnson, Vassell, I think guys like that, they'll be back. Even Jakob, I would not confidently say that I think Jakob's going to get moved. But I do, like I said, I do think he has value. And if you are going to move him, now's the time to do that.
Exactly.
Now's the time. Coming off a really good year and going into his last year with you, now's the time to move him. Like, you still get something before he could potentially leave. I think he's a candidate too. But, now that I say that, though, I'm still falling into that trap of the generalization the Spurs don't do anything. But it's clear that, that's not the case anymore.
Nope.
Definitely not Brian Wright. Yeah, Brian Wright damn near gutted the roster at the deadline. So maybe they do move. Yeah.
Yeah.
So maybe
I was on, I was talking with the guys over there at the Sports Star on halftime, and it was with Rob Thompson and our former colleague here at Ken's 5, Joe Runagel. And I was thinking to myself, like, hey, going back to the Spurs ABA early, NBA days, Hemisphere Arena till now, I don't remember a time where the team was that active, like trading away. I mean, Brian Wright got started early. Remember, it was that first domino was Bryn Forbes in the Denver deal. And then after that, there was another, then that's when they really spiked up. And then they laughed and they were like, no, well, there was a guy named Trader Bob Bass for the Spurs. And this guy was like wheeling and dealing crazy, but Bob Bass never really made significant moves. He was just trading garbage for garbage. That's really what it was. It was like, I'll give you our garbage player for your garbage player. That's all it was. There was never like moves of this significant level as Brian Wright did, acquiring draft assets, get rid of Thad Young and Drew Eubanks for a first, like of that level. Can you think of a time? I can't think of a time where the Spurs were that active, making significant moves. I really can't. Even before Timmy came in, where they didn't really have to make significant trades because he had a generational player. But
right.
But I'm expecting.
minus Kawhi, which is of course a different circumstance.
Yeah.
No.
No.
I
I
cannot
mean,
recall. No.
the closest maybe was Dennis Rodman, Sean Elliott deal, and back in the day. But I know, I mean, so with that being said, I mean, if that's the foundation, then yeah, I expect Brian Wright to really try to hurry up this rebuild. I mean, the best way, I mean, they got the pieces to hurry up the rebuild. They got draft picks, they got young players. They still got flippable players. Yes, even DeJounte. I mean, maybe DeJounte comes with a very high ticket price, but it's still flippable. You know, I'm pretty sure if Casey Viera is a Spurs GM and you got a call and they're asking about DeJounte Murray, you're not going to hang up immediately. I think you would listen.
I would, yes.
Yeah. I think you
I mean,
would
like
listen.
I've said plenty of times before, nobody, even with the year Murray had,
Mhm.
nobody on this team is untouchable.
Right. Yeah.
Very few players in this
Oh.
league are untouchable.
Absolutely.
And Murray's
All right,
no
we're done.
different. You got to listen, yeah.
You got to listen. We're done talking here. We want to hear from you. What do you think about Devin Vassell's expectations heading into his third season? Are you setting them high? Are they ridiculously high? Or, you know, are you tempering them, saying, you know what, just see moderate growth. Keep on keeping on, Devin. You know, you'll get there. And what do you think about the Spurs at the NBA draft? Keeping all 3 picks, trading one of them, as Casey believes, or making sort of package and making a big splash? We want to hear from you. Casey, tell us where they can chat with you.
You can follow me on Twitter at Casey_Viera, and be sure to watch Ken's 5 at 10 on Thursdays through Sundays. Come hang out. And
Yep.
yeah. Nope.
By the way, can I share a little funny story with you before I
I
let
love
you go?
funny stories, sure. Love funny
Well,
stories.
I'm putting funny in quotes here.
Okay.
So Ken's brings in the new kid to help you out on the sports side of things.
Yeah. Nate,
I don't
good guy. Good guy. Yeah.
Yeah. So there were some Locked On Spurs fans that saw you welcome him on Twitter. Like, oh,
Uh-huh.
he what did you say? Something like he speaks Spanish or he goes to HEB, or it was something of that line, that line.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I get DMs from people saying, never have Casey on again. I'm like, well, why don't you have Locked On Spurs? Because he never gave you that type of welcome when you joined Ken's. I was like, whoa.
I wasn't with Ken.
He wasn't with Ken's. Yeah, I said he wasn't. I go, he wasn't with Ken's at all. I was there before him. And I said, and I gave him his congratulations on Locked On Spurs. So I was shocked. I was like,
Is
wow.
that true?
I mean, that is true. Yep. That is true. These Locked On Spurs fans, man. They remember. They remember.
That's wow.
Yeah.
I wasn't even. You were with Ken's like a solid year before me. What the hell, man? Now I got labels over here. Jeez. Oh my God.
I know. I was like, whoa. You know, and then I just
the breaks, man.
Yeah.
Oh, see, you know, that's how S starts, you know, because they'll be like, oh, Casey wasn't on the show in 3 weeks. Hasn't been on the show in 3 weeks. There must be some kind of beef right there.
Right now.
And he welcomes Nate, but he doesn't welcome Jeff.
Yeah.
Even though Jeff was there a solid year before Casey was there. They must be beefing. Like, what?
Oh, but first
on
of all,
that, on that note,
yeah.
I got nothing. Yeah.
Yeah. First of all, everybody, there is no beef. Secondary, I've been trying to get Casey on for a while now, but you know, for those who don't know, he works multiple jobs, and he's a husband, and he's a dad dog or a dog dad, or what do you call it? So,
really, I guess.
But he's here. He's here on Locked On Spurs. No beef, but
no beef.
Thank you, Locked On Spurs fans, for having my back. I guess.
Man,
I'll take it.
Wow.
I know it got crazy.
That's wild. Nuts. See, now I wish you told me that off air. So I wish I could have like fueled it and sent some like cryptic stuff just to get people like all stirred up. Because I didn't know people cared that much.
I'll never be on Locked On Spurs ever again. Never again.
Like joining Locked On Wizards, the best of the Locked On family.
That would have been funny. But on that
Oh
note,
my
subscribe
God.
to Locked
Oh
On
my
Spurs
God.
wherever you get your
You turned
favorite.
him the Locked On Mavericks guy, far and away the best Locked On show in Texas.
Oh, just don't say Locked On Rockets. I think that'll just I think all Spurs fan base will just turn on you at that point.
I
You're a
know. I know.
Rockets fan? You're a
Yeah.
Rockets fan? What happened? How dare
We
you?
have, Ken's also has the Big Fun podcast.
Yeah.
And be like, going on Big Fun, far and away the best podcast
Yeah.
in the Ken's
Yeah.
family.
Exactly. People would have been flipping tables. Civil war would have broken out among
I
Spurs
know.
fans.
Oh my God. You shouldn't
Subscribe.
have told me this. Now I'm just gonna have Now I'm gonna have fun with this all
Oh
day now.
no. See, I don't want to create a monster here. I thought it would just be a little funny stuff to clear the air.
I'm just playing.
To let everybody know that that's not
good.
the case. That's not the case whatsoever.
I
Subscribe to
know.
Locked On Spurs wherever you get your favorite podcast, Google Play, Stitcher, iTunes. Now on YouTube. We appreciate all those YouTube visits on this Locked On Spurs YouTube page. And the first picks of the Ultimate NBA Mock Draft have been made. Search now for Ultimate NBA Mock Draft. Get over 50 insiders, the Odyssey sports experts, draft experts of Locked On NBA Big Board. The 5-episode Ultimate NBA Mock Draft is underway. Make Ultimate NBA Mock Draft your second listen today, and your first be Locked On Spurs, but probably not for Casey Viera. Probably his 8th listen. Maybe not.
When you close the show here, can you refer to me as former best friend over here or something like that?
Okay, I'll do it. I'll say former friend.
Yeah.
By the way, the Locked On,
yeah,
Locked On Spurs submitted their picks in the mock Locked On NBA draft. Everybody knows I selected Jalen Duran, number 9 overall. But who did I pick at 20? And no, what trade did I make to move up in the draft? And who else did I select? It's coming out very, very soon. So for my former friend, Casey Viera, I am Jeff Garcia. We're going to put a lock on this episode of Locked On Spurs.